Hello, everyone. My name is Alexandra Bobbin. I'm the director of the Nutrition and Aging Resource Center, a cooperative agreement with the Administration for Community Living. Today, we're going to discuss a very exciting grant opportunity through the Administration for Community Living, also known as ACL. So I'm going to walk you through our website, how to find the grant opportunity, and then a little later, we're going to talk to a couple of research scientists who have done work in the Aging Network for these grants. This is the Nutrition and Aging Resource Center website. You can find it at acl.gov/senior-nutrition. You can learn about us, our purpose in serving the Senior Nutrition Program and Older Americans Act by providing high quality person-centered services and resources to assist ACL and stakeholders with identifying issues and opportunities to enhance program sustainability and resiliency. Older Americans Act funded senior nutrition programs work to reduce food insecurity, hunger, and malnutrition, enhance socialization, and promote health and well-being of older adults. We'll include this link in the chat, but this is where you can subscribe to our newsletter in the top right corner here. We also have a calendar of events where you can register for our upcoming webinars. We have a large number of social media pages that provide really great images and education that you can share or use as learning tools. They're all at aging.nutrition. This is our Instagram page, but we're also on Twitter, Facebook, even TikTok and YouTube. I'll scroll down here so you can see just some of the eye-catching images that we're able to create. This is our YouTube page where the recording for this and others will be located. Now we'll go back to our website and I'll show you how to find the grant opportunity. So we've made it really easy right on the front page here. You can click on the grant opportunity, which is the Innovations in Nutrition Programs and Services Replication and Research Grant. Today, we're specifically talking about the research grant. When you click on the link here, it takes you to ACL's website where the links to the two grants are located. And when you click on the research grant, it will bring you to grants.gov. So you can also find this grant opportunity by typing in the grant award number into grants.gov. So the Innovations in Nutrition Programs and Services Research Grant is a very exciting opportunity where the award floor is $400,000 per year and the award ceiling is $600,000 per year. It is a 60-month or 5-year grant, discretionary grant with the Administration for Community Living. You can find more information under the related documents page. The full announcement is located here, other supporting documents, and the FAQs page, which is also very helpful. I've pulled up the full announcement here and scroll to page 4, where it shows there are two funding options, Project Type A and Project Type B. Project Type A is to demonstrate congregate meal program impact on nutrition, socialization, health, and well-being outcomes. The goal of this project is to demonstrate that congregate meal program services, practices, or policies positively impact senior nutrition program participants by reducing hunger, food insecurity, malnutrition, enhanced social isolation, and health and well-being. Projects must have a strong potential for replication by the Aging Services Network and sustainability using Older Americans Act Title III C1 congregate meal funding. Project Type B is to evaluate and sustain effective, non-traditional senior nutrition program delivery models. It must test and validate non-traditional programs, practices, or policies that have emerged or experienced significant innovation during COVID-19, that have shown some level of effectiveness and have strong potential for replication by the Aging Services Network and sustainability. You can find more details on the funding announcement page. There is a 25% match requirement for this grant. Now I'm going to bring you to the Elder Care Locator. If you are a research institution or university that's interested in applying or working with an Older Americans Act program to apply, I recommend using the Elder Care Locator, which can be found at eldercare.acl.gov. The Aging Network consists of national, state, and local providers. So nationally, the federal organization, as we've said, is the Administration for Community Living, which oversees 56 state units on aging, which include all states and territories. The area agencies on aging are then designated by the state units on aging to either directly provide services or to contract with local providers to provide services. So this is a great place to start, as you can enter your zip code or search by city and state. We're really excited for this grant opportunity, and we hope you are too. So now we're going to hear from two research scientists in the field who have done this work before and worked with previous innovations in nutrition grants. We have Dr. Sarah Francis from Iowa State University and Dr. Nandita Chaudhuri from Texas A&M University.
How did you connect with your Older Americans Act nutrition program?
I work at the Public Policy Research Institute at Texas A&M. We are an applied research institute working on real-life projects with policy implications for vulnerable populations. So we were set up by the Texas legislature in 1993 to conduct policy-relevant research for state agencies and federal agencies. So our partner in the INNU grant is Texas Higher Health and Human Services Commission. Their office actually called us with the INNU forecast. And they asked that if we could develop a research design that can allow the state to modernize its congregate meal programs. So we became really interested in the work, and then in close collaboration with them, we developed the design. We discussed the parameters that we are going to select the nutrition providers, the Older American Act nutrition providers, to test innovative pilots in our state. So that is how we became connected with the nutrition programs.
I am an associate professor with Iowa State University Extension and Outreach. And I was hired about a decade ago to help provide food and health programming for older Iowans. So when I began this position at Iowa State, the Iowa Department on Aging and the Iowa Department of Public Health reached out to me to discuss potential collaborative opportunities that would be mutually beneficial for our clientele in our institutions. And so we maintained regular communication about our projects, and we're able to early on identify many ways we could collaborate. And so, for example, I helped them evaluate program impact and qualitative feedback to inform their programming, and they helped me identify locations for my research efforts and put me in touch with valuable community partners. And I honestly credit this collaborative relationship for their success that I've had since arriving at Iowa State.
What have been the benefits of receiving the grant?
You know, like we have been able to develop connections, specifically with the 16 community-based nutrition providers and their aging partners to work in this project. We have also been able to develop linkages with the aging stakeholders in Texas and nationally elsewhere. And of course, like our whole research team now have a better understanding of the aging network that includes local, state, national level players. And we are getting into this research space much more now. We have actually another related grant. So we have had the opportunity above all to do meaningful work for older American population of the state, assess their needs, explore and test innovations from implementation science perspective. There is modernization work done, there is innovations work done, but there has been no attempt to develop the Texas-specific evidence base through implementation science frameworks. So that has been a huge blessing for our whole research group.
I think from a state perspective, the benefits of these collaborations have been that we have been able to identify barriers to participation in the meal program and have identified opportunities that will attract older Iowans to the OAA programs being offered. The outcomes from our work have also provided strategies for program improvement, I think, at a multi-state, maybe national level as well. On a personal level, the benefits to working with the Department on Aging on their innovations grants have been, they have helped sponsor a graduate research assistant who was working on her master's degree. We have been able to produce several peer-reviewed research publications, and as well as the ability to network with other professionals within the aging network. So those have been the perceived benefits from my perspective.
How best can a senior nutrition program, like a state unit on aging, area agency on aging, or local provider connect with a researcher or research institution to partner to conduct research and vice versa?
I would say that try to identify individuals in higher educational organizations, in higher educational institutions in your state that have conducted projects or research with the senior nutrition programs, with the AAAs, with the senior serving organizations, are people who have actually worked in the aging research space. Look for specifically implementation science partners who work with program evaluation approaches. They will be able to align methodologies with the goals of the project. And then I would also say that identify research projects previously conducted within the state, within your region, that could supplement or maybe even support your proposed project. You need to find out, like, who are the primary researchers working in this space?
Often when I talk to colleagues who have an aging research focus, state units on aging and area agencies on aging and local providers are often viewed as partners for study location or participant recruitment only, and not as a potential, research partner. And so I think that's one thing that we all need to do a better job on, is really raising that awareness of these potential collaborations. The first thing would be to search for your state unit on aging at eldercare.acl.gov to identify that top level person to work with. A lot of times we try to make that local connection, maybe the meal site manager, but if we're looking at performing those ACL sponsored research activities, it's really reaching out to that state unit on aging director to learn more about the state's goals regarding the Older Americans Act programs that they are offering, and to identify potential ways to collaborate, and also to spend time cultivating this partnership, regardless of if there's a request for proposal out or not. It's forming those relationships and really understanding the role of each agency to really identify those very successful, very productive relationships.
What do you wish you would have known before applying for the grant?
I wish we knew more partners with proven intervention tools. I wish we knew the community partners at the local levels all over the state who can add value to the local projects. We, of course, know some, but I wish I had a list or a repertoire in front of me to choose from. And then the other thing we realized is this, that the subject matter experts from different spheres can support the grant and provide additional value. So it's very important to know subject matter experts, say, for example, in branding and marketing, or even in building community partnerships, or who are just like dealing with implementation science and with proven effectiveness of interventions for this targeted population. And of course, like I also think like if I knew the research leads from other states whose projects have proven effectiveness, it would have been really, really helpful.
I wish I would have had a better grasp of the variety of administration and community living related projects that are being conducted in other states. I think this would have helped us be able to identify potential multi-state projects that would be beneficial from a national perspective. In learning more about the programs, many of us are doing very similar projects, and I think if more of us could collaborate those across states, it would make for a very impactful program for our, from a researcher's perspective. It would provide us those numbers that we need to really determine outcomes. But from an ACL and Older Americans Act perspective, it would allow us to have greater impact across many states.
What advice do you have for others interested in an ACL research grant?
I would say that try to prepare and partner with the right entity. Choose partners that can deliver on commitments. This is something we have realized that staffing changes over the course of a grant period. So it's very important to have the commitment from the organization, not from an individual. The other thing I would say is building the space for a lot of flexibility. We had to adapt a lot in terms of like our original proposal and our design. We had to adapt a lot, especially because of the pandemic. Pandemic adaptations had to happen for our 3-year research grant. We are in the last year right now. The other thing to do would be to just like put in a lot of effort into researching. Research, and do not recreate the wheel on protocols and how-to guides and methodologies. There are existing resources. There are repertoires on ACL research in many places. So it would be hugely beneficial to know the landscape and then understand what is lacking, what's the gap.
Be open-minded about how potential collaboration can work. For me, while my work wasn't focused on Older Americans Act programs, my research skill set in needs assessment and program evaluation was viewed as valuable to the Iowa Department on Aging. And so I was so that was their benefit. But for me, it allowed me to use some of the information I collected through the OAA to better inform my research and extension projects. I think a lot of times as researchers, we get very focused on what we are doing, and we don't take a step back to see that maybe to see how we are even on the periphery related to OAA programs and how we could work with them. I think another thing is to remember that Older Americans Act programs are community-based and real-life programs. This takes flexibility research design. It also requires keeping participant and provider burden in the forefront. Oftentimes, those of us in research are so focused on design and outcomes that we may fail to examine it from a practitioner's viewpoint. And that's really important when we are looking at this type of work. I think another thing researchers should be aware of is the match requirement. This is something that many of us are not used to when applying for grants. And so it's important to start thinking about those partnerships within our campus, within our professional groups in our state that would help us be able to meet that match. So be thinking ahead of time about where that match could come from.